Welcome to the Dear Edwards Analytic Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Avella.
And I'm your other host, William Silicaccio. Cool, let's start the day with a question about our novel, Dear Edward. Does the novel's central themes align with or enhance the themes and essential questions of the existing curriculum in the American Dream?
Yes, I do believe that the novel's central themes align with and enhance the themes and essential questions of the existing curriculum in the American Dream. My reasons to support this is that it relates to a lot of the books that we've read this year, especially, primarily, I'd say, the things they carried. Edward deals with emotional pain after the tragedy of the plane crash where his whole family dies, and he has to learn how to live with that loss, just like the soldiers in the things they carried. Another example is in the other Westmore. Both Wesses are shaped by what happens to them, and Edward also has to figure out who he is after the crash. But overall, I believe that Dear Edward fits with the themes that we've studied because it shows how people handle pain, find purpose, and keep going after their life changes instantly. Now, Will, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Does the novel have the potential to engage students and spark meaningful classroom discussions or personal reflection?
Now, I feel like definitely it does. I feel like this book speaks on the battles against loss. I mean, Edward loses his whole family in a plane crash. I think anyone can really kind of relate to that. And I feel like the power of like human connection is really big in this book too. When he moves to New Jersey with his aunt and uncle, he doesn't really connect with them. They don't really accept him for who he is. And he meets his neighbor girl, Shay, and he really confides in her and is able to go to her when he's feeling down about stuff. And I feel like students can also reflect on their own experiences about losing meaningful connections, whether it's like a family member or like losing a friend if you're like moving or going anywhere. I feel like anyone could really relate to what Edward is going through in this. Gwen, I have another question for you over here. Back to you. In this setting, context, or message of the novel relevant to contemporary social or ethic issues students can connect with?
Yes, I do think that this student definitely relates to modern day lives of the American students. In this book, Edward Elder is the sole survivor of the plane crash, and he loses everything instantly. So I think this can relate to a lot of things. If we dive really deep into this, we can think of COVID-19 and the mental health and grief that it dealt with people dying from grandmothers, grandparents, parents even, some younger kids, not many, but a lot, or some. It deals with trauma, anxiety, and loss, which many teens have faced, especially during COVID, which definitely relates to the book when Edward's whole family dies. And he doesn't even realize until after he gets to the hospital, doesn't really remember anything, but once it really hits him, it takes him a while to get back to his normal self and recover from everything. But this can also relate to finding identity. It shows how Edward is okay to feel lost, and it takes time to figure things out, but in the end, it will all be figured out. So a connection is his friendship with Shay, one of the neighbors that he moved in with his aunt and uncle in New Jersey. It shows how important relationships are and how they can bring you back together with your past memories of other people, especially after isolation, like during the pandemic and when he was in a coma. Now, Will.
I love how you really dove into that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Will, I got another question for you.
Hit me with it.
Okay, so
5 minutes later.
we apologize for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, my phone just died, but we are fortunate enough to have a charger, and my phone's back up to 5% and running. So we will start from right now. Okay, Will, are there any potential barriers to teaching this novel? For example, censorship concerns, sensitive content, accessibility, or age appropriateness?
I definitely feel like there is. First off, I feel like if students have ever dealt with loss before, they can definitely relate to Edward's story. I mean, he lost his whole family here, and I mean, if you ever lost a family member, it can definitely hit home. It can hit you right in the heart. And another thing I feel like is it really relates to grief and PTSD. When Edward leaves the hospital, he realizes like the gravity of the situation. In the hospital, he was kind of felt like it was all daisies and rainbows. I mean, it just wasn't real. And now he gets out in the real world, he realizes, oh, I really don't have anyone. And it's kind of almost, it's like survivor's guilt. He feels guilty that he was the only survivor. He felt like he maybe should have died with them too. And I think there are subtle references throughout the book to like sexual stuff, relationships. While that could be hard for some students to understand, I feel like that wouldn't be very age appropriate for a classroom. And it also talks about death, mental health struggles, which is all stuff that's uncomfortable for people to talk about. However, I do feel like it's good, but I feel some parents or school boards would not approve of that message or any of those topics.
I totally agree with those thoughts of yours.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining me on this show.
Appreciate it.
Just make sure you guys stay tuned for the upcoming episodes and the podcast. Make sure that notification bell is on, and we will see ya.
Next
Bye
time.
bye.
Is that good enough?
Okay.
Oh, you can get made fun of.
I'm gonna get so trolled.